Good evening everyone from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. It is Bridget Davis here wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are in the world and whatever it is you may be doing. I hope you're well and I hope you are safe. Thank you for joining me tonight. Well, it's tonight here in Sydney. Just ticked over about 6:30 p.m. and tonight's cooking class is number 2 or episode 2 in our week-long celebration of savory crackers. And I swore and promised that all the crackers that I'm doing this week are also going to be nut-free as well. So that's pretty exciting. The first lot of crackers that we did, I called them flackers because they were made from flax meal, so really high in fiber, really good for us. And the crackers that we are making today, I've been a little bit sort of like, can you guess what they could be possibly made out of? I've called them rocket crackers. If that gives you any kind of hint, maybe just a little bit. But anyway, they once again are simple, and of course they're gluten-free, they're sugar-free, they are dairy-free, they are nut-free, and they are also vegan as well. So let's get into the recipe, and as per usual, I will be sharing the PDF. If you'd like to print off your own version, I'll be sharing that tomorrow on Bridget's Healthy Kitchen on Facebook. You can look for the rocket cracker recipe in there and request it, and then we'll send it straight out to your messenger inbox for free, and that is happening tomorrow morning. So in the meantime, you get the recipe right now. So if you'd like to take notes, please feel free to do so. These crackers are fabulous and they're so good they do not need a topping. There you go. Come down to my bench. Let's get going with this fabulous cracker recipe. Oh, I've given it away. What do you think is in rocket crackers? That's right. Can you believe that we're going to stick this? This is rocket lettuce, also known as arugula. So rocket as in R-O-C, you know, like as in the rocket that goes to space, but also roquette, it's also known as. And our friends in America refer to this as arugula. Basically, it's a type of lettuce. It can be referred to as a dark leafy green, as you can see. And the flavor, if you've never had rocket before, it's quite spicy. It's almost got a little peppery overtone to it. So it is really nice to be mixed through in salads. But as you can see, my rocket or my arugula is looking a little bit wilted. It's kind of past its best by. So this is a great time, if you wanted to, turn them into crackers. And if you're wondering how the heck is she going to get that lettuce into a cracker, trust me, it's actually really easy. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is I just want to make the flour that's going to be going into our crackers today. And the flour that we're going to be making, you can also buy this already pre-made, but in here I have sunflower seeds. I have 130 grams, which is about 4.5 ounces of sunflower seeds, and I'm actually going to make my own flour. But you can buy this already pre-ground if you want to, but you know, like, sunflower seeds are cheap. They're really cheap. So if you are looking at a packet of sunflower flour and it's looking a bit expensive, this is how easy it is to make your own. So I'm using my little spice grinder, but you could also use a food processor as well. So you just, like, seriously, it takes seconds to make. And I know sometimes the processed stuff, even though it might just be sunflower seeds ground down to flour, it can be really expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper to make your own. And what you'll notice is it doesn't take long. It's that quick. Wow, look at that. It's exploding. It is literally exploding out of my little machine. How cool is it? It's so quick to make. So easy, and you can kind of see the consistency that we're after. It literally looks like flour. So we'll do that one more time. We'll do that. You don't want to overfill. If you are using your spice grinder, what you'll notice in most of them is it has in the actual, I'll show you once it's empty, in the actual, the inside in the cavity, there is a line, and I'll show you that line. Let me just put the flour into there. But what you will see, firstly I'm just going to make sure to I don't want to waste any of the flour that's kind of stuck into the edges. But what you'll see in there, like, it's got metal down the bottom, and then it's got like a plasticky bit up here. When it comes to these spice grinders, you do not want to overfill them, and I fill mine only up to where the metal ends and the little plastic bit starts. That tends to get a really good grind. So just check with your, if you've got a spice grinder, if you're thinking of purchasing one, Just sort of make sure that you read the instructions and they'll tell you, you know, what's the capacity to put it in. Because if you put too much in, it's not going to grind down, and you want it to be as even as possible. And you can see even after a couple seconds, I've got a really even sunflower seed flour. But like I said, you can buy your own if you don't have one of these, or you could use a food processor as well. The food processor will take a little bit longer to get it into flour, but you'll still get there. And it also depends on how fast or how, you know, the power of your food processor. So I've obviously got this food processor, which I love. Like I said, it just takes a little bit longer, and I've got a spice grinder, so I like to use that. But we are going to process the rocket in our little machine here. So the rocket leaves that I have here, the measurement's about a handful, but I did measure it just in case you're like, well, how big's a handful? I know, right? How big's a handful, Bridge? It's about 40 grams, which is 1.4 ounces. So put your rocket into there, and it's a good idea to give it a wash if you haven't already given it a wash. And then when just drip dry, and the way that you drip dry any type of lettuce is you hold it really loosely in your hands. This is after you've run it under cold running water. You hold it really loosely under your hands, and then literally just kind of do this motion. And what will happen is you'll get rid of the drips without, you know, squeezing it and breaking it. Of course, the other alternative is to put it into a lettuce spinner as well. So washed and dried rocket goes in there. I'm also going to add in, would you believe, I know, right? I'm putting fresh garlic. Fresh garlic into my crackers. You're probably thinking she's gone crackers. She's gone nuts. Well, she's gone nut-free crackers. I'm putting 1 teaspoon of finely chopped garlic into there. Basically, what I'm kind of creating here, pinch of salt as well, what I'm kind of creating here is, I suppose you could kind of call it my own little mini pesto using rocket. So I'm going to be adding in, there was a pinch of salt, teaspoon of freshly chopped garlic. I'm also going to be adding in 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, about that much. And as well as that, just to help to bring it, to make it a little bit liquid, is I'm also going to add in a couple tablespoons just of water is going in there as well. You can, and I will, be also adding in, because remember it's like making your own little pesto here, some freshly ground black pepper, just a good grating of that goes in as well. And now we get to blend with the little blender, which is here. Okay. And make your own little rocket pesto. So you're kind of after possibly a little bit more liquid than that. So I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Maybe another couple tablespoons. I just want it to be just a little bit wetter, and I'll show you why in a second. There you go. So it kind of even looks like pesto now, right? Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. So once we're at that stage, and you've got this, you know, this lovely looking pesto there for yourself, I'm going to add our little scales underneath, and we're going to add some of the other ingredients. So on my board here, I also have some chia seeds. So straight into here, I'm going to be adding in 30 grams of chia seeds. Goes straight in. You can probably do this entire batch in your little mini food processor, which is pretty cool, right? So chia seeds go in there. I'm also going to be adding in some sesame seeds, which I forgot. They're on the other bench. 30 grams of sesame seeds. They're going to go in as well. Oh, just enough sesame seeds go in there. And then we're going to take all that flour that we made, and we're going to put in that flour. Not quite all of it. I'm actually going to hold back about that much flour, just in case it needs, if it's too wet, then I'll add a bit more flour. If it's too dry, I'll add a bit more water. But you won't kind of know until you've done the mixing, because it all depends on how fine you can get your flour. So that goes in there. We're also going to add a bit more salt. Now that we've got everything else in there, a teaspoon of our mineral salt goes in there as well. Don't need you anymore. Pop the lid back on and give it a bit of a blend, and we're looking for it to come together as a nice dough. Oh yeah, all right, so we're looking pretty good. So I'm going to transfer things around just a little bit now, because I would like to use this big bowl. Put that in there. That's our extra, remember, just in case we need a bit of extra. And then just scoop all your dough into a little bowl. And this is when we're looking at consistency. And it is really going to be, you know, all dependent on how fine you can get your flour. You know, if you buy processed sunflower seed flour, you may find that you have to add less of it because it's just a little bit drier. But like I said, it's all going to depend, and it's up to you to use your visuals now. So what we're looking for is a dough that is going to be able to be flattened out without it sticking as we wrap it. But you can see, look at the colour that we're getting off there. Isn't that cool? So you've literally made rocket crackers. It's so awesome. We don't need much flour. We're looking pretty good. So I'm just going to add a little bit of a sprinkle. And I just want to bring it together. Like, I don't want it to be crumbly. I want it to hold its shape. But I also don't want it to be too sticky. So, you know, you just keep on adding until you get a dough that's looking like a good, moldable, pliable consistency, which is going to be great when we start to roll it out. And already it's looking pretty good. Another great idea that you can actually do is you can just let it sit for about 5 minutes. And as it sits, the chia seeds that are in there are going to start to swell up, because they swell up in the presence of a liquid. So we've got water or olive oil, we've got all sorts of, you know, liquids in there. So you will find it'll begin to be a bit jelly. So if you leave that for 5 minutes, but I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna be crazy and keep on going, because over here I have our already pre-lined baking sheet. I'm just going to pop that straight into the middle, and it's looking like a dough. It's looking like a dough. I bet you never thought you'd make your own pesto and throw it in a cracker. I know, it's one of those things you're like, really? It's not until you actually see it in action, and then you taste it in action, you realize just how wonderful it is. So the best way to roll a wet dough, if you ever make crackers that are a little bit on the wet side, is once again to take a piece of baking paper and flatten it on top, and then use that just to press our dough down. And once again, like we did on our last cracker recipe, is we're going to use our rolling pin, and we're just going to begin to roll it out. Now remember, I'm using a flat baking sheet here with no real high edges, so it's easy for me to do. But if you don't have a flat baking sheet, just do, you know, take this off the baking sheet and do it all on your bench, and then carefully transfer the rolled dough over to your baking sheet. So you don't have to worry about trying to do this if you don't have a flat baking sheet. Yep, I got a question.
What's the flour you use?
What is the flour we use? We made our own sunflower seed flour. So that was the flour I used in this one. And of course I used chia seeds as well, and sesame seeds. So the type of thickness that you're looking for is around about half a centimetre, so 4 to 5 millimetres. These crackers can get away with being a little bit on the thicker side, because they get quite, they have a nice crunch, but they also are quite nice when they're a little bit soft in the middle. So about 5 millimetres in thickness. And we're just going to see if we can carefully peel back. This is good. Even if you get a bit sticking to the top, don't worry. This is all looking pretty good. And of course, you know, just like I did last time, if you wanted to kind of just clean up the edges and make it, you know, a little bit more uniform, you can do that as well. And that's just a matter of, you know, sort of taking a piece off, doing a bit of surgery, doing a bit more rolling, you know, and you can get it, you know, pretty uniform and pretty flat as well if you do that. So once you're happy with the width of your crackers, the thickness I should say, you know, peel back the top, and then take yourself up a sharp knife, and just using the point, you just want to go along and of course score your crackers into shapes. I'll leave it up to you, whether you want to do squares. It looks like Australia, back to front. I'm just going to show you what I'm seeing. Okay, a little bit, I know, kind of like Tasmania's missing, but that is totally WA on that side. Look, if I like make that a little bit bigger, that looks like the big bite, isn't it? The big bite? Yeah, you can see where I'm going there. That is Western Australia. Tasmania, oh, we lost Tassie. Northern Territory, anyone who's not in Australia, You're probably going, what is she going on about? But you got to admit, that is very Australian-like. So we might have to rename these crackers. Something Aussie, definitely. All right, so scoring up your crackers. If you like them to be, you know, you like squares, then you know, these bits at the end, eat them and don't show them to anyone. They're the ones that you eat first if you like squares, and they do look pretty cool as squares, I have to say. I mean, normally I'm just like, yeah, go rustic, but these ones actually look really cool. These ones look really cool when you have them in squares. Oh, I have a question. Yes, Mahi.
Carrie Hill said that it looks like Stewart Island.
It looks like Stewart Island. There you go. Sorry, it's been renamed from Australia to Stewart Island in New Zealand. All right, last ingredient is we're going to be adding in some nutritional yeast to the top. So you can add sort of 2 to 3 sprinkles. And what is nutritional yeast? It looks like this. It is nothing like brewer's yeast or yeast you use when you are baking. Nutritional yeast is deactivated yeast, so it's not going to make this rise up at all. But what it is going to give is going to give a wonderful surge in B vitamins, because nutritional yeast is just that, very nutritional, really high in B vitamins. But the reason why I really like it is it tastes kind of nutty and almost like Parmesan cheese. So it gives these crackers, without adding any dairy or any animal products whatsoever, it gives these crackers a real wonderful hit of that sort of nutty cheesiness to it. So once they're at this point, we then pop them into the oven, and they're going to bake at 170 degrees Celsius, that's 320 Fahrenheit, for between 15 to 25 minutes. Now, the reason I've given you such a big gap in time, like a big generous of amount of time, 15 to 25, it depends how thick you roll them. So keep an eye on them. Definitely halfway through, don't forget, we always twist them around just to make sure we get even color. And what you're going to find with these crackers is the edges will definitely color up first. So just go into your oven, well, take it out of your oven, you don't need to hop into it, take your tray out of the oven, peel back the ones that are cooked, and then put this back in the oven and keep on going to the middle parts are cooked, because they're going to take the longest. So between 15 to 25 minutes is a really good indication. If it needs longer than that, just leave them in longer as well, because don't forget, guys, every oven is different. So here's some I prepared earlier. I've got them in one of my favorite tins, my little French tin here. Normally has little caramels in there. There's no caramels in there, but there is a tin full of the most gorgeous rocket crackers. So as you can see, like I was saying, they really do come up nice and square, and they're quite a generous thickness. But do they have a crunch? Come up here and let's test the crunch, because it's really important that they have a crunch, right? They do have a crunch. Oh, they're really good. They are so good, they don't need anything. That's what I love about them. They're really delicious on their own. And I can feel the chia seeds popping in my mouth, which is really, really cool. These are so fantastic. The nutritional yeast. If you are questioning whether you're going to bother, if you've never had nutritional yeast before, this stuff is good. This stuff is good. It really does impart such a wonderful finish on the cracker, because it's just on top there. It really is quite sensational. So there you have it. Bridget's rocket crackers. Of course, they are gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, and these ones are even vegan, which is really fabulous. But they are packed full of such healthy ingredients, and I just love the fact that we can eat so well. We can all eat so well. Delicious, wonderful food, yet it is so incredibly good for our body. So everything I'm sharing with you this week, all these crackers, you know, they're not just incredibly delicious, but they are really healthy snacks. And if you feel like you need a snack, this is the way to go. So thank you for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed today's episode. We've got lots more cooking coming up, and please remember to subscribe to my channel for lots more easy, delicious, gluten-free, sugar-free, and dairy-free recipes and treats. Until the next time, everybody, take care, be well, and be safe. Bye.